Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 3rd, 2023 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I have returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies I live my life by. So, that said, this is, as we know, Sunday, it is an open topic, meaning bring your questions, whatever they are, but remember, whatever questions you bring, put them in the chat room. Preferably in all caps so I can find them. At the very least, put some caps and a wavy hand in there, the wavy icon, so we can find it, so that I can track them down. And Lord, boy, I must have pushed my limits yesterday, so you're gonna have to deal with the throat, at least working, sort of. So, what do we got here? I've got to get that open so I can actually see it. Let us go to YouTube. We got finished gaming a little late today. That's why I'm just coming in at the last second here. Okay, let's just double check. Oh, look at that. And we are already up and running. So, right off the bat, we have Nathan in here with the gold. And as Nathan is in here, where are we here? This is the link to Nathan's show, to Nathan's live stream. So absolutely drop in, give him a listen when you get the chance. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. That would be really appreciated. Then we have with the silver, Chad Smith is here. And Chad is right here. And likewise, this is the link to Chad's live stream. So absolutely, give him a listen. If you like what he says, do come out and give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now we have Joe coming in. Joe Stewart is here with the bronze, and Philip, you've come in with honorable mention. And I'm just looking. We've also have we got anybody else in the room? Not yet, but that'll change. Okay. As I said, I was going to be working on a number of things, which, gaming started today and ran a lot longer than usual. I'd apologize, but that would mean I was actually sorry about it. But I will tell you, talking for 4 hours straight last night, actually it was 4 hours on Friday, and then another 4 yesterday. So yeah, I pushed my limits. That's a real debatable point there, Philip. Philip's just asking, who had the most fun. We ended up with some interesting situations, but what it boils down to is my character. Okay, and honestly, I forget offhand what his name is, but we've only played 2 sessions with him. My character is a midget human. He is only 3'6", but with an 1892 strength, and now he's got 17 dex. Okay, he happens to be a fighter, bard, cleric. Okay, then we have a full drow, who is essentially, he's a cross between a ninja and a samurai, I believe. Okay, and then we have an Aarakocra, right, who is a psionicist mage. Well, psionicist illusionist. But the 3 of us, we're all from the same community, so we're looking at really building this community up. So it was a lot of fun from that standpoint. You know, I know my character. As a matter of fact, that is one of the things I did today. Where did it go? Active. So I did bring out some characters to actually get the painting done. And this would be the other one. Because I do intend on getting some of this wrapped out of the way. But the thing I find entertaining, you know, see, we've got this, and this is the drow. Now, needless to say, it hasn't been done anything with it yet. But I do know how to cope with that one. So we get that out of the way, and let's just get that sorted out. Grab that. What do we got? There we are. First rule of thumb: if you're going to paint, you got to have the paint to work with. Before I do that, I wonder if that's a good idea. I don't know if that is. That just about wasn't. Ouch. But no, it was a lot of fun. We've got a lot of things. The three of us are working together to make this little community of ours a whole lot safer. You know, from the surrounding area. But it's funny. I keep telling people. You know, I like telling people. You know, I've got this neat little idea. Every time I build a character, I end up building an empire. So I asked my game master one day, I said, what is with that? You know, I said, why is it every single character I build, I end up building some sort of an empire in the game. He never even blinked. He looks at me and goes, drive. Now I'm just going to scroll down here a little. Yeah. I'm glad to have you here, Nathan. You know, we've got some interesting things going on your stream, that's for sure. Essentially, Philip, my character is starting to develop an interesting outlook. And we did discover something rather intriguing. Found a spell today that worked like an absolute charm. Right. Called in, and again, you got to remember, with gaming, you have to remember the whole concept that Game Master, you know, there's two rules. Rule one, Game Master is God. Rule number two, if you've got any questions, see rule number one. Okay. Philip, yes. As far as the fire goes, there is still some going on around here, as far as I understand. But it's become in the back of everybody's mind, really. Yeah, we've gone back to life as it is. Which, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You get to figure that out. So, what I'm looking at, this is a character this is my character. Now, like I said, there we go. Meet Marcus Kane. Not much of a chap, right? But, and yes, I had to use a halfling because, well, let's face it, you don't see many 3.5 foot humans. So now what I'm doing is making certain that I get him built the way I desire him to be. Of course, it's really fun trying to paint a character when you can't literally hold on to it properly. Like I said, I work with toothpicks and paint. Makes it really tricky on occasion because I can't see a dang thing most of the time. So, am I perfect at it? Not even remotely close. Of course, that depends on your definition of remote. But take him and the Aarakocra here is another one of these wonderful little individuals that he's got a whole unique way of looking at things. But this guy is building a hunting lodge. I'm building a cathedral and a theater. This chap is building a hunting lodge complete with butcher shop, the whole 9 yards. And I'm really I think the drow is building a trading post. So all of us are getting our hands into the middle of things. But what you got to remember is when you're doing this, first and foremost, it's critical that you remember exactly what your character is aiming for. And the more developed your character is, and I'm going to introduce you to a couple of people while I'm doing this. What do we got? Yeah, that was not what I needed. I did not need paint on my hand, but it happens that way. No, I'm going to, in some of the characters I'm bringing in here, that I'll be working on today, are actually for the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Again, because of the fact I'm writing, I find having the figurines available to be able to deal with it is kind of convenient. But I have to kind of improvise in a lot of ways. Now, what do we got? This one I just want black wings, and as you can see, it's already been painted to a degree. You can tell that because of this, but what I'm going after is just the little bits and pieces. The nice part about it, and I mentioned this before, whenever you're striving to tell a story, the more senses you can involve, the better off you are. And this is why I find these figures are really convenient where it comes to laying things out. Put him aside and he can dry. And of course, we are talking drow. So I'm thinking, considering I didn't get any directions, I'm thinking we just go with the idea of paint the outfit mostly black, although I'll throw a little bit of different color in there, just so it's not entirely boring. But like I said, this is a question. What do we got? Somewhere around here. Whoa, where am I? Yeah, somewhere around here I have one of those, Philip. I just don't know exactly where it is right now. Yeah, and that's not a bad idea at all. I'm sort of improvising at this point. Of course, the intriguing part is, as long as I'm careful, I can actually work with it the way it is. But I do understand what you're getting at. Now, one of the things, this is just one of the many little tasks I've got to do. So I got to get my list together so I can get on it right. And my light is fluctuating. That's always fun. But we'll see how the day goes. Matter of fact, maybe we'll do that first before we go any further. Put that down there. Move that out of the way. Now, let me ask you this, guys, and I've mentioned this before. I know you guys have a goal that you would like to accomplish. Okay, this is just pretty much a given. So, What do we got here? I do believe this is the story of Yldrbac. That'll get done afterwards, because I'm certainly not doing that right this moment. So I walk over here. Okay, now this is, now where are we here? Where are we here? Philip's going, I've been wondering, writing on the experience of having wings and flying. Oh, okay. Number one, okay, there's a trick to it. First and foremost, one of the things I keep hearing people say a lot of the time, a lot of writers, or a lot of writing instructors, if you will tell you, be certain you write about something you know. Okay. Well, it's a cute thought. When you're letting your imagination go and you're pushing that side of it, picture what it feels like. Like, do your best to get a feel for it. This is going to sound odd, but if you're striving to write about having wings and flying, something that can help, okay, just to get an idea. And it's an old trick that we learn when we're kids. Okay, you turn around, grab a sheet. Okay, just grab like a top sheet. Wrap it over your shoulders, kind of like a cape, but hold the edges out so that when you run through the backyard, you can feel the way it pulls. It'll give you a little bit better of an idea as to what the sensation is. The more sensation, the more description that you can bring in, including as many senses as possible. Okay, it works out really well. Now you can get the same kind of a feeling on the back of a motorcycle. Now, for pity's sakes, do this with somebody that actually knows how to ride. Okay, back of a motorcycle, on a bicycle, any way that you can be moving along through the air. Okay, and I don't mean put the sheet on while you're riding a motorcycle, by the way. Way too many problems. But the more that you can gauge the experience, the better and the more clear, or the clearer is a better way of putting it. The clearer your expression, your description is going to be. Okay, but it really boils down to getting a handle on what you're trying to convey. Do not worry about whether or not other people do it the same way. Okay, because the one mistake that people seem to make is, oh, everybody writes it this way. The thing is, if you're going into writing, it's imperative you write something that stands out, that you can relate to. That you can look at and go, this is what I was trying to convey. Best way of doing that, when you write a small section, don't worry about writing the whole chapter. Okay. If you write a small section, if you want to know if you're on the right track, turn it over to somebody you trust. Get them to read it and see if they can picture what's going on. If they can, then you're on the right track. If they can't, the answer is that you're not quite on the track that you desire to be. Now, don't forget, you write it, you read it. Make sure it fits right for you first. Because the whole key to writing is that you've got to write, and write so that it paints the picture you are trying to see and that you're aiming to see. Okay? It does not have to be done the same way everybody does it. Okay? It simply has to be done the way that you personally desire to see it done. That will make all the difference in the world. Okay? Like, you take a look at this figure. Okay? I'm coming up with the black cloak. Now, I will be using other darker colors. We are talking drow here. So it does not make sense to make it bright and vibrant. Now, I know I'm going to have to do another coat on this guy, because the problem with painting with a toothpick is that it leaves drag marks. So I'm just looking at it going, okay, how do I get this to look right? And again, I am not doing this with the thought process of I'm the best there is. Frankly, I am nowhere near the best. Matter of fact, I'm barely passable in my eyes. So right now, this is just a question of making certain that I get the baseline character sorted out. Okay, now like I said, that one I'm just going to leave sit because I'd like it to dry a bit. So I put that down over there. Then we take a look at this. Where are we? Can't see for love of money. Okay. Oh, yeah, Philip, I would suggest, especially if you're going to feel what it feels like, you get on the back of a motorcycle of a motorcyclist that you know can drive or can ride, not one that just says they're really good at it. Because all you're looking at doing is getting on a straight stretch, put your arms out, okay, and let it go. Now, the reason for that is it will give you a feel of the sensation. If you don't recall what it's like doing that when you were a kid, this will help. Okay. I've done that before, but of course I'm looking at this particular character. Are you thinking referring to the drow there and just making it look like the drag marks are supposed to be there? Now, let me see here. Pen. Okay, so we have Marcus here. We have the Aarakocra and the drow. So I'm just letting that dry for half a minute while I get things moving. Now, funny thing about it, okay, is something you got to realize here, and this is where we go a little sideways. Okay, you take a look at these characters, and this little guy here, okay, there is a race that looks very similar to this, okay, called the Uka. Okay, look very similar to these. This is D&D character, but it's the closest thing I've got to an Uka now. In this case, this is the gaming character that I'm working with. Okay, and therefore I'm just dealing with it as best I can. I already know what colors I got to work with. Okay, now when we look at this one is, and let me just pull up the book to give you the actual name that I used. Let us see here. We go here. Oh, there's an idea. Move that out of the way. And let's see if that opens everything. There we go. Let us see. If we go up here, we go find. You're in the way. Over there. Let's take a look at where we've got Kizlak's elephant. Just scanning through trying to find what I'm actually looking for here. Okay, bring that over here because I really want to make certain I don't get too lost here. Okay, what do we got? Yeah, Philip, I'm looking at this, and Philip's just saying, I heard a story about a bricklayer who told his novice to consider any special features, any bricks laid imperfectly to be a stylistic special feature. It sounds really great. From a professional standpoint, I really question it. Okay. Ferret, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And I see football is coming to the end of the room as well. So let us just go up. Oh, we're already up that far. So I'm looking at this going, I've got to find a way to make this happen. But, where, pray tell? Not the daemon. Ah, there we are. I knew I had the name in there. Now, by the way, where it comes to the writing I'm doing, I had to break things down. So, of course, needless to say, I'm developing my own name line for the different races. Now, you guys know what a drow is. Okay, I have literally, because of the way things evolved, this is one of the Cambi race. Okay, one of the shadow elfin that Kizlak is used. Kizlak is the primary antagonist, and he's the primary antagonist that comes in way back at the beginning of book one. Not a pleasant guy, by the way. So I had to come up with names that actually work rather well. Now, let us see. No, that's not happening. Where is the little guy? I do believe that can be worked with. Okay. So I've got here, and I know you guys have seen this one. Take this. And this here, I've actually got two Arboreans. They're easier to work with when I'm going to write if I've got two different styles, right? So this guy, as you can see, has some pretty powerful little hands. So I'm looking at this going, now, how do I work with this and make the character a little bit more, stand out a little more? Now, neither one of these actually have a name yet. Okay, so they are not being personalized to that level. What, pray tell? Ouch. Not going very far. So what I've had to do is take a look at the different races that I've got and find a way to convey what they are without actually getting carried away with it, without actually losing track of them. So in this case, there we go. In this case, I'm literally just making certain that my paint doesn't get completely gummed up, so I can actually get it painted properly. What you'll find when you're doing the painting and when you're writing is the more they like this whole idea of getting a three-dimensional pattern together works really well for me to make it that clear, to be able to choreograph things. We'll get to that in a little bit. So this particular chunk of wood, it's this is an arborean, and yes, in the Yldrbacian Chronicles, you will get to see what these guys actually interact like, both on the positive and negative side. The thing you got to remember when I'm writing for a specific atmosphere. And so people ask me, well, what age bracket are you looking at? And honestly, I would be inclined to say that you're looking anywhere from 13 to 100 or older. Because I do get a little graphic on the combat side. And something just dawned on me. Nathan, if you're floating around here, and let me just take a look here. Keep having to put this down so I can see what I'm dealing with. Angels, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So let's bring that up. Where are we? There. This is the link to, where are we? Angels. Now, this is the link to Angels live stream. So absolutely drop in, give her a listen. If you like what she has to say, do give her a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of it. Okay, that would be really appreciated. So I'm looking at this going, I've got to get this organized, which is why I've got a number of different tasks already being listed here, and I'll just add to them as I go along. But this particular little entity, I've got to get the painting on it to a functional level. Now, I say I have to, you may not. Maybe in your eyes it's doing fine anyway. But this is kind of where I get into trouble with me being a bit of a perfectionist. I'm sure some of you out there that can relate to that quite readily. So we're just going to tie this part off and let him sit. And yes, as you can see, this is, to say the least, a bit of a tedious work. But the end result is really convenient from my standpoint. So many people I talk to, they go, oh, I'll settle for this. I'll just settle for this small little shift. I remember years ago I was talking to a carpenter, and he literally told me, from his standpoint, if they're off by an inch on the main floor, it's not a problem. They go with it anyway. I don't know, when I was growing up, if you were going to do something, you made sure you did it properly. Hence where the idea of measure twice, cut once came in. Unfortunately, from a lot of what I've seen with modern construction, a lot of it almost seems to be a simple issue of guess once and hack the thing off. Because they'll tell you the quality of work is just not what it used to be. That unfortunately is the reality from what I see. Not necessarily from what you see. So I'm looking at this going, okay. It is an interesting endeavor, striving to get everything organized or striving to get things done right. When you are a bit of a perfectionist. But I will tell you, when I'm going to go back to the writing, I'm going to try and stay there for a minute. When you're looking at writing, okay, flying, having wings and flying around the world so you can write even a short story, or even a poem. You've got to get somewhat of a feel about it. Now, if you don't desire to go running anywhere, if you simply go outside and watch the birds when they're flying around, you can really get a handle on the way to describe it. But it does take a little bit of focus. For me, it's a pretty cut and dried issue. And that is, you simply involve, because remember, number one, you've got the air rushing through your hair. Okay. You've got the wind, if you will, caressing your skin. Because this is what you're looking at. You're striving to get a handle on what it feels like. So really sit outside, tap into the wind, and notice everything you're feeling on your body. Okay. This will help you immensely in getting a handle on how to phrase it. Okay. And like I said, the more clearly you can paint the picture, including as many senses as you can. For instance, when you're thinking about flying, you're thinking about flying over a wheat field, in amongst oil wells, or over the salty ocean. Okay, these are things to consider because they all play a part in the way you describe it. Also, is the wind blowing directly at you? Are you fighting a headwind? Are you being buffeted by air pockets or by side-to-side wind? These are things that include another view of what you're looking at. Not to mention, what are you looking at below you? What kind of terrain are you passing over? The more you can convey to the reader, the better off that experience for the reader is going to be. Hopefully this is making sense. Take that guy, put him down. And let's see what we got here. Donna, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Figured I better take a look at that. I just decided I'll see what questions come up. And like I said, if you have, if you've got a question, even if it's not in the topic we're discussing, okay, absolutely come right out and tell me. Come right out and ask. And the reason for that is because, well, frankly, I find it easier. Right now, I just figured I'd come on, get some of this mess sorted out. Now, that's the Arborean I'm working on. We have Marcus, which I don't think I can deal with anymore right now. Then we've got the Arococra and the Drow. Now, this particular chap, this particular one, I actually believe he's gone. And I gotta go to book 3, or book 1 for that. No, book 10 for that. No, I don't. Him I'm gonna leave alone for a minute. So where did my train go? Here we are. It's just shorter. So I put him back in here so I don't actually get things out of hand. Remember what I said, especially when you're working on something. Okay. When you're working on a project, keep it as organized as you can. Now, let's see if I've got any of the characters here. I mentioned the other day an interesting little munchkin. Let's see if he's in here. he is not in this bin, which means he may well be here. I brought down ones I was working on. He's not there either. So let me open this up and see if he... Oh, there we go. This little guy here. Now, this one I just love to write. Okay, this little guy here. Okay, there we are. Again, because I'm dealing with gaming figures, this little chap is Sawgrass. Okay, Thunder Sawgrass. He's just a little guy. I have no idea how he came into the picture. You know, I really don't. Where is Brown? Okay, we get up here. Not that. Espresso. This is simply a specific shade of brown I'm working with. But, neat part about it is it's one of these shades that works well in a number of different places. So, we pop that in there. And where is it? As you can tell, I don't sit still here much either. But I think that's just plain normal for me at this point. This little character here is a lot of fun to work with because I'll tell you, the guy, he just came out of nowhere one day. Don't know exactly how that came about. But I do know that he gets himself into all kinds of mischief. And everybody seems to watch out for him. You know, he's perfectly harmless in a lot of ways. Although absolutely deadly because he doesn't tend to think things through. Now we have, what do we got here? You know, the nice part about it, try and work which day time works best. Yeah. Yeah, and that's not a bad setup. I will warn you, Nikki, I'm on, as you know, I'm on 5 or 6 days out of the week. It can be a little bit hectic, especially with everything else. So absolutely pick one that fits for you. I will tell you, if you're going on at 4 p.m., Friday night may run into a problem with people having a lot of other things to do. Because don't forget, you've still got your day-to-day schedule that other people are working with. Now, don't get me wrong. People will absolutely... There's a saying that came out a long time ago. If you build it, they will come. Set the time that you can work with, and you will likely find you have reasonable success with a turnout. It may take a little while to get it up and running. Okay, but as long as you stay consistent for you, and this is where I run into a little bit of a problem. Like, I just decided that, you know, Sundays I'm gaming anyway, so coming in and working on this sort of the creative side of things is kind of easy to mold into. This is why the more organized you are, even in a creative field, the more easily things will come together for you. My biggest problem right now is my eyesight keeps going sideways. Basically, the figures are a little small, and yes, I do agree. That magnifying lens idea is actually not a bad one at all. I can even mount it right here. I wonder, considering somebody brought it up, why not just double check that? If I've got it, I know exactly where it is. Well, clearly that ain't going to happen right now. Gives you an idea how that's going. So, what do we got here? Oh yeah, in all fairness, Ferret, all of these this is all different paints that I've got. Okay, I've got a lot more up front as well. Yeah, I don't paint on canvas. I've got one painting I've done on canvas, but I am not really proficient in the artwork side of it. That said, this doesn't mean I'm going to stop anytime soon on the creative side, because I'll tell you, I spent way too much time, or maybe not too much time, but an awful lot of time, striving to make things happen in a different fashion. And really, it's time to get the creative side up and running properly. So now what I'm doing is going, okay, how can I get this all brought together? But it's funny, I get too close to this thing and I can't see it. So I put him out of the way. But now, whoop. I'm just reading this. Oh, there we go. Yes, Donna. In answer to your question, there are two groups of people that fit that. Okay. The Laborians, and number one, the Laborians themselves are not lions. However, they are feline. However, there is a group that are actually in the it's in actually Races of the World Volume 2. Okay. Has what you would call lion men. Okay. Where they have literally evolved from they are people that look very much like your modern day lions, like your Terran lions, complete with a mane that goes all the way around their head. But I will tell you, talk about a dangerous group. When you look at them, okay, yeah, they look very similar to lions. They are. Where are we here? Yeah. Now, don't forget, lions do eat. Well, I should put it this way: lions do eat some vegetable because they still require that. A carnivore does not mean it does not eat any vegetable. Okay. Salt is very necessary, but I don't think I've got the. I know which race I'm looking at. When you're looking at the actual now they are a Terrian trope. They do come off of. Give me a second. They come out of the Lyran star system. There's a lot of what people would call animal based races. Okay. the lion folk are, and I've got to track down what they actually call themselves. Okay. They do, and like they are hunters. There is no question there. But you also got to remember, much as the the males are larger, I will tell you with them, it is not a patriarchal society. Okay, they are literally matriarchs. Okay, the patriarchal part of it is the figurehead, and what happens there? Where are we here? What happens with them, with that group of people, okay, is number one, the matriarchs are the ones that dictate what happens, but the male has a much more robust physique, and therefore it really is all about the posturing, all about the image. Okay, these guys have a very regal bearing to them, and rest assured, if you don't honor that bearing, you're likely to run into a problem. Okay, now if we look at the Laborians, here's the thing with the Laborians. They are not lion. They are of a feline nature. But with the Laborians, they literally live. For them, it literally boils down to one day is as 1,000 years. Now, they only live about 35 of their years. But when you calculate that, where'd it go? If we take 365,000 times 35 years, a Laborian lives about 12 million years Earth time. Okay. Yeah, I know the one you're referring to there. Where are we here? Go back up. Yeah, Don is just saying this one had the lion's mane. That simply means he is male. Okay. And depending on his size, may depend, it's kind of a toss up as to whether you met one of the leaders, as it were, or one of the figureheads. Understand, in their society, they are not talking about, oh, we're better than you. It's literally a question of, we are born to this rank, and therefore you treat us this way. Problem: if they end up with a member of their society that is not portraying the proper regal side of things, they are not portraying that royal bearing, their own people, their own bloodline will rip them limb from limb. Okay, it is literally all about societal image. Okay, but as you can well imagine, they do come from a very not a warm climate. Like, they are not desert runners; they are plains runners. And no, in all fairness, okay, okay, now let me just think here, because where, pray tell, did I put it? Well, that's book 12. That doesn't help a lot. Okay. I'm looking to see where the stack of paperwork went. Not that one. Okay, I got another box of information around here somewhere. And I don't know entirely where. This is one of the reasons why I'm trying to get everything organized. Well, the odd part there, Philip, is the matriarch. If you think about human society, everybody says, oh, it's a patriarch. Yet, think about it. Mankind was built stronger, more physically resilient, okay, and usually with faster reflexes because they were built as protectors. But mankind got it through their head they were the leaders. And yet, it was women over the centuries that developed housing techniques, developed medicine, developed, the whole idea of a social structure and an educational structure. And yet men come along and go, oh, we're the leaders of this world. No, you're not. Okay. Yes, you have a place. And yeah, I realize I'm male. I understand that. Okay. But women have been at the backbone of just about every evolutionary civilization that's come along. It's funny when I look at that. When, it's a toss-up. I've seen some women make some pretty stupid choices. Mind you, I've seen the same thing with men. But I will tell you this, that women do tend to be a little bit more societally inclined. Men a lot more focused on the immediate. Okay, which is not a bad thing. And something. Terry, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So, oh, by the way, like I said, I had to rack my brain for it, but let's see what I got here. Where are we? Not that one. We need to go to. That's all. Told you I had a file around here that had more information for me. And no, I'm not about to try and show it because you're not going to read it anyway. Oh, that's what that neat little thing is. There we are. When we are looking at the felines, okay, at the lion, the ones that look like lions, okay, we are talking now. They come, they actually grow one of their primary planets, not their originating planet, but go to Sirius. Well, good luck with that. But that is where you'll run into the lion folk, the Raylons. Okay. Now, the neat part about them is they will walk around very often. They're bipedal. They will walk around a lot of the time. Chest puffed out, their head, your shoulders back. They look like they belong walking around with a scepter. Okay. Not all of them. Okay, some of them absolutely were. Okay, I will tell you this. Some of them were absolutely here. In the Egyptian times, okay, first of all, the Egyptian gods were the Ennead. Okay, they were the ones that came down. They're the ones that showed the ancient Egyptians how medicine works. They had over there artwork. There we are. Should be right here. And yeah, I'll be putting all of these away. As you can tell, that filing cabinet you can't see is pretty conveniently close. I think it's this one. This neat little thing here. Somewhere around here, and maybe it's in book 2. But this is, and again, my apologies, my artwork absolutely is pathetic. Okay, but you've got the handle right here. Okay, this is just a picture of a smaller version. Okay, you've got your handle right here. Okay, the reason I wrote Eniod is this is the race that built it. You've got a back panel around here. The outside panel is what you lay whatever you're working on. Then you've got this ring here. Okay, that's on a clamp that comes up. So you've got the thing here. Okay, and then that clamp lifts up and then tilts down so you can work on whatever's here. But it's this, the thing that you got to remember, and yes, I am in the process of documenting this. Okay, somebody made a suggestion that I take the technologies that I've got and at least, well, they said put a book together. I am at least putting a booklet together to explain this sort of thing. But this center circle that you see here, that is a gateway, very much like a short range Stargate. It enables the operator to operate inside the body without breaking the skin. Net result, minimal contamination. Okay, this is one of those neat little things, and somewhere around this place, it may already be well, actually, let me call that up because it might already be in book 2, which means it'll also be in the second printing of book 1, by the way. Let me see. Okay. Me open that. Okay, let us take a look at technology here. No, that is... there we go. The Holunk. This little thing here. And yes, I've already got it documented. It's already been in very small form. This little tool is already in the second printing of Races of the Worlds. But this thing was built by the Eniod. Okay, and it is designed for operating with minimal damage, minimal danger rather, to contamination. Now, let us take a look here. Derek, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, I haven't dealt a whole lot with the dogmen, but again, I don't research what people are calling the cryptids, but you did somebody in here made a very important point. Many of these cryptids have been around for a very long time. I do know, I absolutely know that the chupacabra is not, it was not from the Egyptians. Well, it wasn't raised by them anyway. It was brought here by them. It was left behind, or more to the point, a few of them were left behind by Martokians. Now, what do we got here? No, absolutely not there, Terry. Daemons come in a staggering number of variations. Okay, some have wings, some have a tail, some have neither. If I'm just trying to think if I've got one that's readily available, readily visible. Possible. I didn't bring my whole workshop down here from up front for obvious reasons. What is that? Okay, that's one, but that's not the one I'm looking for. Give me 5 seconds and I will bring one to you. See, I just don't have enough room to get things sorted around all the time. But this little guy, now, yeah, this one definitely has horns. Okay. Quite frankly, still looking for a name for him. But this is one of your daemon. And yeah, he does have horns. The thing is, this little munchkin, I wonder if I've actually got his name in there. That would be book 12. Sometimes what I do is I come across the name, may just note it right off the bat, and then have to come around and figure out, okay, where the heck did that name go? But, no, not that. Okay, I'm not going to go and track him down. But not all daemon are built the same way. What have we got here? Okay. Where are we? Keith, Terry's just asking, do all daemons have two horns, big bat wings, and a tail? Like a lot of depictions of them. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, here's another one that I've got. Okay. Now, quite often the horns do develop, but you got to understand what the horns are for. They are how they fight. Okay. This is another one that you really don't want to deal with. This one comes from the Mistlands. Okay, and I will be getting him painted properly. Well, yeah, he comes from the Mistlands, but what's on the back of him there? These guys are more often than not coming out of very warm climates, as in fire. Not a nice group of people. Okay, I was looking to see if I had any of the smaller ones, because they don't all come in humongous size here. Okay, but that's why I'm looking for figures that actually fit. You know, that actually do the right job. Yeah, that giant monkey that you're referring to, that was a Wara. And no, I don't have a figure for that. But the Wara are they look very similar to what Bigfoot looks, but they're a whole lot more aggressive. You know, where do we go? John's just saying, when I saw that giant monkey moving in the trees, it was just a blur out of the corner of my eye. Then the Bigfoot and him appeared next to each other. Yeah, and here's the thing. Bigfoot, what you know as Bigfoot, are literally protectors of the woodlands. And this is why, if you know where Bigfoot are standing, and somewhere around here I've got the actual name, don't think, maybe I do. Where is volume 2? Why don't we do this? We go find, and we go quite often what I'll do is I'll put the name in. Whoop. Hey, that didn't work. So let's get book 1 open. Shouldn't be in there. Matter of fact, I know it's not in there. Wonder if I named it that to start. Nope. Oh well, that's always a pain in the neck. Now that, like I said, the Wara look like Sasquatch, but are a lot more volatile. What have we got? Yeah, well, dogmen are just, from what I've gathered, they can be a little bit more volatile. Oh heavens, yeah. I've run into a couple of friendly daemon. You gotta remember, A daemon is not, like, there's a distinct difference here. Daemon are a civilization. Demons are, quite frankly, a religious construct designed to scare the daylights out of you. Okay. No. What have we got here? Yeah, I've met some people, some daemon that are very friendly. Okay, and by the way, something you'll notice. Okay, the reason I brought this guy back is, aside from him, the one that I ran into, literally being this tall. And when I mean literally, I mean you're looking at me. This is my hand, and that's how big he is. Okay, but fortunately, he is like, when he's not smile with one that like this, the one I ran into, they can be aggressive, as in a lot of fluff and bother. If you think about it, little house cats. No, I did not make this. No, these are all ones that I've literally bought pre-made. I'm just finding ones that actually fit the bill. But this little chap, okay, I met one like this, and this is about as close a rendition as I'm going to get. But what happens, is you get some of these are really aggressive, and the horns are just simply, if you take a close look at the hands, you'll notice they've got some pretty serious talons. Okay, it's very much like the legs. Now, here's the thing. Okay, here's the neat little part about this. This particular guy knows how, using his own metabolic method, okay, he can grow a lot bigger. Okay, they have the natural ability to change size. And yes, I realize humans go, that doesn't sound functional. And ultimately it works like this. They evolve, they have figured out how to modify their physical configuration to scare off people. The imps are not the meanest demons, but they are some of the most annoying. Okay, they really are. Like, this guy is about the right size for an imp, but he's not the right build. Okay, because these guys, if you look at this one, he's actually got hooves. Now, somewhere around here, over there. Reason I went and got this was, well, obviously, we've got an interesting setup. No, imps are they specialize and take great pleasure in confusing humans and, frankly, in creating problems for them. Where did Black go? So, are they some of the more problematic of the daemon? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely they are. Because they have this idea they're supposed to be the ones in control, as it were. Okay. That doesn't always work out the way they'd like, by the way. Yep, that'll work. So we take this. These hooves are absolutely black. You gotta remember, with these guys, all of their bones are absolutely pitch black. They are not varied colors. But I'm talking just the bone. So this one's going to be very easy to get most of it done. But you got to remember when you're dealing with these guys, first and foremost, especially at this size, they're not violent. They are a lot. If you've ever seen a cat, which let's face it, you've all seen a cat, but take a look at a small one. Okay, they always puff up their skin and their fur and walk sideways to look a little bigger. If the idea is intimidate the other person. Okay, these guys, they just grow and they will grow as much as how big do they actually get? They can, like, if they stand up to their full height, at this height, I'd have to check, but I think that's about 5 inches at this height. When he stands up fully, because you'll notice the legs are bent. Okay, but if he really wants to stand up, he'll hit a good 6 or 7 inches. Okay, which, that's not that big. But when you realize that his talons are strong enough to cut right to the bone, it adds a whole new dimension of owl. But, the nice part about it is no, there is no race at all that you can just turn around and go, that race is evil or that race is violent. There are daemon that will not fight. Now, granted, more often than not, if you've got a daemon that won't fight, more often than not, it ends up dead. Okay, so what they usually do is they team up with other races that are a little bit more volatile. But these little guys are designed, they literally evolved with the capacity to dig through the ground in no time. But it's weird because these ones live inside the caldera. Okay, it's the only place you'll find them living on Earth is inside the caldera. In other words, in a volcanic dome. Okay, but that's just because they are very comfortable there. And yeah, I realize for humans that's a little much. But no, in fairness, that's why you don't deal with them a whole lot. But these are the guys that design they're the ones that, on direction, if you will turn around and they will carve the volcanic vents to let the pressure in the volcanoes go. Because let us not forget, volcanoes are Esau's method of cooling. The fact that she ends up spilling blood on occasion, aka magma, is not because she's trying to be problematic. It's because she's got no options. That's just the reality behind that side, at least from what I've seen. Now, these guys, really nice people, but do understand when I talk about them having sharp talons, shaking their hand is a great idea. You may end up bleeding to death because they will cut you to the bone quite by accident. Thing you got to remember is, and this is why I like these, I showed you guys a number of months ago a couple of models that I've got that I stumbled across that are literally life size. Okay, as a matter of fact, I can do that. Sort of. I don't even have to leave the room. I don't know where I came across this. Okay. But this is a very good friend of mine. She still hangs around the house. Okay. Yes, I know it looks like an odd setup. Somebody did, I don't know who did the picture. Let's try that this way. Okay. But that's a life-size portrait. Now, if you take a... Why do I keep doing that? There it is. That's what I get for trying to do this while I'm actually talking and try and show you things. Okay. This one here is a life-size painting. Okay. And needless to say, she's not that big of a lass. But this guy is a life-size model. Okay, which gives you an idea how big Fairy and the Fairy are. Okay, really nice people. Bit skittish on occasion, but a whole lot of fun. Okay, this guy, and I will get him sorted around if I can see straight. That ought to be a neat trick. Okay, that one you just toss down there. And there we go. Like I said, I was going to try and get some of this done while I'm talking to you. And where are my glasses? Oh, the Fairy are extremely real. I know a chap down in the States. No, I'm not going to tell you who he is. I know a chap down in the States that studies the poor guy and the poor people. And when I say studies, I mean he's in constant contact with them. But the Fairy are very real, very skittish, and I will tell you, you won't find them in the city usually. I've got a couple. The reason I actually leave my doors open for them is because I've got a couple here, a couple of friends here. They can very easily shift themselves out of sync so you don't see them. You may see a bit of a kind of like a haze where they're sitting. Okay. But what they do is they vibrate their molecules so fast that you can't actually physically see them. And they almost come across looking like an actual haze. This guy as well. Okay, no, this one is not live, but it's an absolutely perfect rendition of the way they are. The neat part about them is that they will consume just about anything. When I talk about it being organic, I don't mean you can grow it. Okay, these guys live around magma, meaning they literally eat. I'm going to call it organic only because of the fact that eats herself is alive and she happens to be mineral, what humans call mineral. The reality is she's something far more complicated. But these little guys are kind of like your pilot fish that follow sharks around. Okay, in as much as they clean up the loose ends. But really, really nice people. Yeah, they look a little frightening for most people. But then again, you think about it. Now, you take a look at this and you go, oh, that looks like a scary individual. These guys live in volcanoes. Okay, not just on Earth, but they do evolve in other places. You know, and the thing is that they are very independent. They don't technically have a society. Okay, it's kind of like the chupacabra don't really have a society, but there's a whole pile of them. But these are the guys, and I will eventually figure out what the heck, because I've been trying to translate their name. And I'll tell you, when it starts off with 4 consonants, it becomes a bit of a problem. Okay. Trying to figure out how to pronounce it is going to be a joyride. But I will tell you, when I looked at the way they run and that they communicate, I can understand what they're up to. Doesn't mean it makes a lot of sense. Oh, Joe, all I did when I ran into him in the first place was say, hey, look, in my home, in my house, okay, you guys are welcome. Okay, I do have to chastise them periodically and say, hey, for pity's sakes, would you mind putting the stuff back if you're going to move it? Stuff goes moving and goes missing in my house all the time. And what I found out, I used to think that this one resident was causing a lot of problems because he likes to. But all I did with the Fairy is I ran into them out in the woods, out in the field one day, literally out in the field because I don't go near the woods. But I ran into them at the park one day and came and was talking to them and told them, look, I know you're edgy here. If you desire a place to live, okay, where you can hang around safely, the door is open. Okay, I don't let the negative demons in. I don't let the problem children in. But you want to come by, you're more than welcome. I've told the same thing to a lot of different ghosts. Different ghosts, different disembodied spirits, different races. Doesn't matter. For me, this is just plain normal. For everybody else, maybe not so much. Oh, where are we going here? Well, I took that off and can't read it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, the thing there, Nikki, is the Fey are a wonderfully gregarious group. Okay. For those that haven't seen it, I'll grab you one. Well, I showed you that one, so I don't even grab the models. So I'm just not going to go there. Okay. Where are we here? There we are. Now that's the Yakima name, the Watita. I take it you're referring, Philip, to the Watita being being the name, the Yakima name for the Fairy. Yeah, and I mean you understand that all too well, Nathan. I mean they're a wonderful group of people, but like I said, this is one of those figures that I've got that's beautiful, but they're actually literally this size. Okay, I don't think I have, or do I? Around the other side. Don't need flesh. Do not have the extra color. Oh, wait a minute. Brain like a sieve here. Right there. Now, the neat part about these guys, I don't have the appropriate setup, so I'll have to use this one. Take that and get that out of the way and grab another bit. That'll work. There we go. Now, the neat part, what I'm going to be doing here is this is the color that it looks like, but these horns are actually crystalline in appearance. Okay. Under the reason, well, I shouldn't say they're crystalline in appearance. These guys have literally their horns are literally silver, which, by the way, in traditional sense, that would make them an extremely dangerous adversary for any of your Lycan. For any of the if you will, Hollywood Lycan. that are allergic to silver. Silver will do all kinds of damage. Well, I'll tell you, these horns, I don't care whether they're silver. They're going to punch a hole in you really, really deep. Okay, but what I'm doing here is I figure I have the option, so what the heck. But what I'm looking at is the different races I know of. And that's why I decided I was going to take these figures and go, okay, how do I get them to look right to depict what I'm actually seeing or what I'm actually dealing with? Now, Nathan, you yourself know when you start running into these guys, you know yourself, it can be a bit, shall we say, unnerving. But then humans are taught if it doesn't look like a human, you're supposed to fear it. Okay, these guys certainly don't look human. But I will tell you they're not something to overly fear. As long as you treat them decently, they're fine. Okay, what I'm doing here, obviously this isn't taking a lot of focus. But what it is their horns literally are a massive amount of silver in them. But as they grow, as they get bigger, they end up developing what amounts to a mica or a crystal covering. This makes them stable in magma. Now, do understand the silver will still melt, okay, but it stays contained because as it grows, the mica the crystalline configuration grows around it, and that's what holds the thing in the configuration. But here's the thing: the horns as they grow, okay, they are a silver. They're similar to silver. Okay, I'm a little dense. I'm just being told they're not actually silver. Okay, these guys, their horns are literally, and I don't have the right color for them, but they are literally chock full of mercury and I don't know what the chemical configuration is, but the reason they look silver is because they are a mixture of silver and mercury. Okay, the mercury letting them liquefy when they get too hot, and I mean what's inside liquefy. Okay, the outside is a crystalline sheath. Okay, so you're looking at a race who, when you get them too hot, it's almost, now you remember what the old lava lamps in the 70s looked like. These things look very similar when they get too hot. And by the way, if they get that hot, that happens not only if they're around magma, but if they get mad, this means their cranial temperature will climb. And when the cranial temperature climbs, you'll see coming up, let's get that over there. As the cranial temperature climbs, you'll see coming up from here, okay, they'll have little bubbles, much like the 1970s lava lamps, that flow up inside all the way to the top. Now, here's the thing. These guys have a deadly poisonous attack because when they punch a hole in you, okay, a little valve opens at the end of this horn, leaching in that heavy metal. Okay, and rest assured, if it's hot enough to keep silver absolutely liquid, this is gonna burn like there's no tomorrow. Okay, yeah, and this is what I mean by now, here's the kicker to it. Okay, I can tell you this is what I'm seeing, this is what I know, this is what I'm documenting. I am not here to prove it. Okay, and there's no way I'm even going to try and prove it. Because the reality is, and I made this comment the other day, those of you that believe do not require proof. Those of you that don't believe, no proof may be possible. And I'm sure you've run into that yourself, both you, Nikki, and Nathan. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just getting the horns done as best I can. And then I'll leave them sit for a little bit and go on with something else. You know, the neat part about this is these guys are not volatile. Okay, they really aren't. You know, like that looks scary as heck, especially when you consider the face doesn't exactly sit there. But here's the neat part about it, and I'm just looking at this. Don't have any red available, as it were. Okay, put him aside and let him dry. As you can well imagine, I'm going to end up leaving and letting these guys, like, I'll end up boxing a lot of these ones up. Where is it? Did I bring a human in? Yes. Okay. Again, this one is just a standard none. This is a just a generic person. Like I said, I've got well over 500 of these, these figures. And this is just a generic person. But the reason I brought him out is this. Okay. Reason I picked this one in particular is because you take this guy. This is your regular, 5'8", 5'9" individual. Okay. This little critter, and I don't actually recall the name that I found for him, but he comes from underground. He comes from in what you call inner earth. Okay. But none, and I've just got to find, let me see. If I go to book 12 here, book 12, right there. Let us see if I remember how I actually wrote this part in. Yeah, that's there, but that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, let's try it this way. Armored chest. Nope, that was not what I called it. Just looking for what I'm trying to find, because I think I've got the name in here. But it would seem not. Looking for one. I'm trying to remember how I actually wrote it. Nope, that is not what I'm looking for. Which is always entertaining. So what did we have here? You go all the way down here. Oh, it's 3:15. That doesn't help. Just doing a real quick read to see if I can find what I was looking for. What book is that? That's book 12. Well, that's enough quiet time there. Yeah, well, that's just it. Here's the thing you got to remember, Nikki, and this is why I've turned into collecting figures and what have you. Okay, is because the figures, at least I can go, this is what you're looking at, this is the size you're looking at, and do something on that end. But I'm doing my best to get the races and the ones that are appropriate, to get them turned into, to get them brought into the Yldrbacian Chronicles in a way that you can take a look at it. Black Dragon, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So I mean, these figures I'm looking at, that I've been showing you, these are all ones that are being brought to light as I can. Now, this little guy I showed you the other day, I think he's complete, in all fairness. These are some of the critters they're showing you that I'm actually bringing to life. You have this nice little monster. Now, I've shown this one to you before. In D&D, they call it a subterranean lizard. Okay, but it's an absolutely dead on rendition of, now they are. This is, if I remember the name correctly, should be a Municore. Where are we? Just pop that in here. Yes. That is a Municore. They are subterranean. But, and as you can see, they've got 6 legs. Okay. They come from another, they come from deep in the world. Okay. But you'll notice the coloring. This is because they are also toxic. Okay. Now, granted, when you've got them on, you're that size. Now, take a look at this comparison. Okay. You've got them all that size. And picture what happens. Does it really matter that the Municore is, does it really matter that the Municore is poisonous? Okay. This is one of those critters that when they go after you, they may, a normal human, they will write off. But this. Now, like I said, I've changed the names on some of these things. Okay, I'm sure you guys recognize this. Now, here's a neat little part about it. Where are we? Football's going, and I really should keep an eye on this. Football's going, can fairies have dark skin and hair? Absolutely they can. Okay. And they can also have bad temperaments. Just like every other race I know of. You can have good ones and you can have bad ones. Okay. Now, here's the neat part. And this is why I said the other day that the person that I was talking to, that claimed to be a natural half-breed Anunnaki, a half-breed Anunnaki human. Okay, think of it. Here's a human. Here is the actual size of an Anunnaki. Okay. Now, that would be the first problem. Can you picture these two actually creating a natural from a human standpoint, offspring? Okay, can you picture that working? Exactly the point. Now, this is, as you can see, really big chap. Now, the thing is, you take a look around in today's world, people are finding these skeletons all over the place. Okay, usually the skulls. Absolutely would. And we're just not going to go into how that would work for a male. Okay. But absolutely it would kill the woman. Yeah, and the thing is the Anunnaki don't shapeshift. Okay. There are some races that do. What do we got here? Yeah, and AJ, Nikki's going, I know they don't. You know, so I do have other forms of this, or other figures that are very similar, but of different races, not of different species. Just like humans, we have the Oriental race, we have the African race, we have the Caucasians and the Hispanics. I've come to understand these are different races, but they're all different races of the same species, which is why I say you're all human, or the majority of you. Yes, there are some hybrids out there. Absolutely. But I'm not about to try and identify all the different ones in a sentence. Okay. Now, these guys, by the way, I refer to as tremblers in the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Because quite frankly, if you think about it, they make the ground shake. Okay. And you will find out, or may find out, what I do is I introduce them the way that people see them, and then worry about how it gets translated. Oh yeah, but you got to remember, when you're dealing with Bigfoot, okay, you're dealing with the small with the runts of the litter. Okay, using the whoa. Oh, okay, I see what that is. Yeah. Number one, when you're dealing with a Bigfoot, having a child with a human, you got to remember an adolescent Bigfoot is only in the 7 foot mark. Okay, so when you're looking at when you're looking at the Bigfoot, okay, they are only 7 feet. Very, very easily done. Okay, I shouldn't say adolescent, I should say young adult. Adolescent is usually 5 to 6, but 5 to 6 feet tall. Your young adults are still small enough to safely father a child with a human female. Okay, the older the Sasquatch get, as we've discussed before. I think it was actually I was having a discussion with Nathan the other day that brought up the fact that some Sasquatch can get to be 18 feet tall. Now, here's the funny part about that. Some humans can get to be close to 8 feet. So there are varying sizes, absolutely. Okay, now, don't have that one. Where, pray tell, um, where are we looking? Up here. Um, Trying to remember what the heck name I was working with. Oh, nope. I put that back where it belongs. There we are. Yes. These funny little critters. Real nasty little idea. But these guys, you guys have seen them. If you play D&D, you've run into critters like this. Okay. These are all too real, but they travel in the grain. They travel underground. Okay. Where are we here? Whoa. Put him back where he belongs, and let's get that boxed up so I don't lose track of it. But no, you see why I say when you're writing, it's really important to get as many different senses involved as possible. Okay? And these are just some of those neat little critters. Here's another one that you'll find. Okay? Stumbled across this. I don't even know what they call it in the D&D world. But I found this thing. There's an absolute perfect rendition for one of the tunnelers under the ground. Within Earth. We pop these back out of the way. That way I don't have to try and remember where I put them. Although it might have been an idea. There we go. Now, what do we got? I know I've heard of people wandering across that, but you gotta remember, the Sasquatch don't care one way or the other. I mean, it's kind of like asking whether an elephant is going to worry about whether somebody watches. Humans are one of the few races that nowadays make that a terrible thing to see. Okay. Humans make that in some cultures. They make that kind of action a terrible thing. And yet it is one of the most natural things to occur. Derek, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And what do we got here? Actually, I think you were in already, but then I lose track of who all's in the room. Not a problem there, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully the rest of your day goes well. Now, I know what that is. Now, this little guy can get put back where he belongs. So, we look at, not that one. This one can go back where it belongs. Are we really that? We really are that far. I did not believe how fast today went. But that said, guys, I do really want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Oh, Derek, that is absolutely fantastic. I do look forward to hearing how you find them. I always worry whether they're going to arrive, but I'm glad they have. Some of what I was talking about today, when I was referring to, to the movers that were coming up, the tremblers that have arrived, these are all in book 12. And right now, where am I here? In book 12, and the one you don't have because it's not out yet. It's chapter 19. How about we close that? I think I've got about 40 pages left in Return to Paradise sorted around. I think I've got about 40 pages left to write, but I know exactly how they're laying out. So it's just a matter of time. And yeah, I gave up on the idea of a deadline for myself because quite frankly, that hasn't worked out that well. Now, where? That should be that one. Yep. This is the pack that these guys all go in. Whoop, he's not active. Where, pray tell, did I put them? That's an excellent question. I like it. These two can go over here. But that's what I got here. In all fairness, Derek, I haven't as yet. My computer, I don't know whether it would work well. I am looking at possibly doing so. I actually play tabletop. However, that being said, I do know there are a number of games out there that a number of game masters. The other person you might want to talk to. Gee, I like the other option too there, Derek. I'm actually just getting started on laying out a world. The reality, and this I decided the other day. The reality is, I used to game master. I had game mastered from 1983 until 2018 when I had my stroke. But I'm only just getting my head back on straight, where I can actually conceive something properly. Now what it boils down to is making it happen. That one goes back to there for the moment. And you can go in there. So will I eventually? The answer is yeah, probably. The other thing that I am going to be doing, okay. Do I read it? I found out the hard way there, Philip. In a way, yes. Okay. I actually didn't know I read Greek until I grabbed hold of a book or rather Latin. So I suspect ancient Greek is going to be pretty much the same thing. I haven't looked at it per se yet, but I'm pretty certain, given my history, probably. I just can't give you a definitive answer yet. Now, before my throat decides it's going to seize, I'm going to say, thank you so much, guys, for sharing your time with me today. I really appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. So yeah, I will be back again tomorrow. And probably the rest of the week, unless, I up and die. That can happen. Usually that's only a minor setback. But absolutely there, Derek. That will be appreciated. I will keep my eyes open for it. Oh, Derek. Derek is just announcing, and let's just solve that problem. That is a piece of information I didn't have because I haven't heard from him yet. But this is the link to Dave's channel, to Spaced Out Radio. Okay, so absolutely drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And, share the daylights out of it. Now, what Derek has said is Spaced Out Radio. And I'm wondering what ATB should have been. Okay, but 11 Eastern, 11 to 9 Eastern. Oh, the B wasn't necessary. Okay, perfect. Okay, I appreciate that. Is it 11 Eastern time? Meaning it'll be 8 o'clock Pacific. Okay, and with that in mind, guys, I'm going to bid you a good night. Say thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Look forward to talking to you again in the near future. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.